Well, welcome everyone, and a very good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Neha, Ambassador of Change for GETI. And today I am very honored and thrilled to have with us Mr. Zamreen Zaruk, who is a trainer at Tolmark Training and Consulting, Sri Lanka. And we'll be talking about motivation for kids on e-learning, an agenda which I think is very important considering that we are, gradually moving towards e-learning, and we're taking it up very substantially in our education system. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. A very warm welcome to you. Sir, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me? Zamreen, sir, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir? Sir, can you hear me? Okay. Please allow me a moment while my guest joins. I think there has been a connection drop in Sri Lanka. He's in from Sri Lanka, so maybe there's some issue. He's joining again. And sir is here. Hello, sir. Thank you so much for joining again.
Hello. I'm sorry there was a glitch in the
It's completely okay. It's completely okay. I was
network.
introducing you and your agenda today, that is, making motivation for kids on e-learning, an agenda which I think we've taken up, more actively since we're taking up e-learning more actively, and therefore we'd, love if you could take us through your presentation and, through your experience. I'm adding your presentation to the stream now. You can, take us through it
Sure.
now.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's really nice, and thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. Yes, great. Okay, so welcome to today's session that is motivation for kids on e-learning. So I'm sure that this is a very interesting topic, as Neha rightly said, because nowadays, especially with the change that we had during the COVID, okay, so I can say like COVID really made us to think different. Like we all had entire world, we had this pandemic, and like it just turned and twisted the entire world the other way. But I'm sure like something really interesting also happened. People started to adapt according to the situation, because that's the basic quality of human being. And we started changing the way that we started to work, the way that we started to learn. Okay, so even our day-to-day activities, like everything got changed. And there comes this point of e-learning. Okay, and so now today let's see how this e-learning can be more effective, and also like how kids, as kids, like what is your role. Great. So I'm sure that you all are ready to listen to some stories. Okay, great. So here we move. Now, one day there was this one particular elephant. It was tied with a chain. So there was a person like who was crossing and just stood back and said like, "Who? Look, this giant elephant is just tied with a small chain." So he just paused for a while and just like he was looking for the person like who is looking after this elephant, and he saw that particular train there, and he went there and asked, "Excuse me, this mighty elephant is just tied up with a small chain. Don't you think that that might break it and run?" So this person like who was looking after this elephant said, "Look, when this elephant was young, small, we used to tie this elephant with the same chain." Okay. Now, my question is, have you ever noticed a big giant elephant is tied up with a big chain, and a small elephant is tied up with a small chain? Have you ever come across that kind of a situation? Have you seen something like that? No, right? Why? Because for big and small, you get the same free size chain. And don't you think that this giant elephant can break it? Yes, of course, he can break it. But he never ever tries it. Because the reason, when this elephant is very small and young, they used to put this chain around this elephant when they are very young. So they are very young, small, they are not very energetic. So then what happens? They're not that strong to break it. So the moment that they put the chain, this elephant tries all the different ways possible to just break it and move ahead. But as he is small, he can't do it. So he tries for days and weeks and months and even years. He keeps on trying, but he fails. So what happens is, during his small age itself, the elephants start to believe that I might do anything in this world, but not this particular chain. So that belief system has been created. So that's the reason even today we all can control these elephants just with a chain. So the people like, oh, the students, or who are the people like who are watching this, and I'm sure that there might be people who are similar to this elephant. Why? Because I'm sure you've tried all different ways in your life to come up. I'm sure maybe like you faced exams, you failed. Okay, one time, two times that you failed, and you just started to believe that this subject is going to be hard for me. Or maybe like you face some exams and like you're afraid. No, come on, like no exams, please. Or maybe like you wanted to try out some different subjects and you feel like, come on, that subject is not the subject for me. So you gave up. But, even when it comes to e learning, it is similar. Maybe at the beginning you feel that it's hard, it's not going to work. Okay, like come on, like what is all this? Like you're just looking at the lens and you talk, and maybe like on the other side students like feel like, come on, like where's the teacher? Like you search, like as we had some network issues, like you might have some network issues, like the teacher start the session and say like, kids, can you hear me? It's like, yes, we can hear you. Okay. And maybe like she asks you to switch on the video and you try to switch on the video, or else like complete e-learning, maybe like you get some recorded materials, you feel like, it's, come on, it's super boring. So anything at the beginning, it will be that. Okay, so most of the students, what happen is, like we are not used to it. or even teachers are not used to it, and especially your parents are, especially they don't like it. Because sometimes for some parents, like they want to send the kid out, go learn and come back. So having them inside the home and like making all these arrangements, sometimes it becomes a hassle. So now all these three parties are not comfortable with this e-learning, and they feel like it's a burden, it's a big hassle for them. One thing could be, they are not used to it and they are not familiar. Technology is something new for some people. Okay, so these kind of complications really make them to get away from this particular new trend. But remember, anything that you start at the beginning, it's going to be hard. In the middle, it's going to be messy. You feel like, come on, like, what is this? But remember, at the end, it's going to be super gorgeous. So if you think it is hard, I'm sure it's going to be hard. But once you believe, hey, this is something interesting, I'm sure you will definitely enjoy it. So that is where we have to make the change. So I'm sure we are moving towards a world of technology. So come on, like we can't just be behind and always believing that, okay, come on, like only physical sessions will work for us. And come on, just imagine something again, something worse and happens. So are we supposed to stop educating ourselves? No, we can't do that. So it's like we have to make sure that we keep progressing. So for that, we have to adapt to the change. We'll see. For kids, you all have to have a yes mindset. That is very important. What do you mean by yes mindset? Yes, come on. This is possible. E-learning is possible. E-learning is a new way of learning. And come on, like you maybe like just imagine like you want to go on a tour. Okay, you want to fly to another country on vacation. So those days, if you're supposed to go somewhere, okay, even during your school days, like you want to go somewhere, but still that you have no way of departing from your home. Why? Because you have to physically walk towards your school. And like climb all those staircases, go to your class and pull out the chair and sit there, like you look to the teacher and you study. But now things have completely changed. Come on, no problem. Like if you are whatever the country that you belongs to, like you fly to another country, still you just have to log on to your system and make sure that you attend your lectures or you attend your classes. Don't you think that is nice? And that makes us really comfortable. Remember, looking from the version of I can't, you will feel that it's not possible. But the moment that you feel, hey, look, something interesting, hey, let me try this out, that becomes super interesting. So you have to really taste it to really feel how tasty it is. So always make sure that you have a yes mindset. That's very important. As students, it's compulsory that you always have that gut and the confidence about yourself. And come on, nothing can stop us from educating ourselves. Nothing can stop me from my dreams, to achieve my vision. So, whatever the goals that I have set in my life. So, this simple thing cannot stop me. So, embrace it, say yes, and take that feeling of strong mindset. Number two, okay, so that is environment. Okay, environment is very important, especially when it comes to e-learning. So most of the time, like you're going to be inside your room or inside your house and you're going to attend this sessions. Okay, so now especially you're like you don't get a teacher physically in front and you are not surrounded with your buddies. Okay, so now you are just looking into a video or maybe an online session. So like very funny things happens, right? Okay, so I'm just going to give you say 10 seconds for you to just think how you do your online or e-learning, how you do it. Okay, maybe this way, or maybe like you sleep, or maybe like you pretend that you are attending the session and maybe like you are playing a game. Uh-huh. Is that the way that you attend? Maybe not, right? Okay, so maybe like like you have a pizza here and you enjoy it every bite, you enjoy and you listen. Okay, you switch off the video and you enjoy your favorite meals. Okay, maybe like you pretend that you're looking and maybe like in front you have a big screen where like you enjoy a nice recently released Marvel movie. Okay, so we don't know. So now the environment is very important for you to effectively concentrate on your e-learning. That's very, very, very important. So to make sure that you don't lie down anywhere, okay, you don't have a feeling of like sleepiness. So you have to make sure that you get ready for it. Okay, you have to get ready for it. And next is like you're not supposed to play with anything. Okay, I'm talking about setting up the environment, and you should not be disturbed by musics, or even maybe at home you might have a small brother or a sister, like used to scream and cry, and like at your home, like you have all this chaos happening. Okay, so if you have such kind of thing, make sure that you request your mom and dad, look mom, like if you want me to study and concentrate, like I'm going to completely get avoid of all these things. Okay, so because why I'm saying this is, once the environment is rightly set, then you can concentrate, then you can focus, then you will understand that you understand better, and you will enjoy the session. Because once you don't have, or once you are not in a position to give 100% focus on what you really have to, then you lose interest. So there are things that we have to do from our end to make sure that the online or e-learning becomes interesting. And strictly no food or no drink. Okay, the maximum that you can have is a glass of water, or a bottle full of water. So that should be fine. But please, because just imagine you go to school. Will you be privileged to do all those things? No, right? Okay, where that is the place like we give 100% concentration. Let's try to do it. I'm sure that we can make it. Okay, so it's not like we don't have the concept of like impossible, like it's everything is possible. Okay, so everything is possible. Great, so moving towards the number three, that is organizing and kick the barrier. Okay, organizing and kick the barrier. So now when it comes to e-learning, same like, okay, just imagine early morning you get up. Okay, so your mom is like making you all the arrangements with the lunch or the breakfast. Okay, like she is so busy in the kitchen. Okay, and everything is ready, and you check out the bag, like whether I have all this, you have to get the timetable, you check out all the books, whether you have those, that this, like you check everything, you get yourself ready, and you nicely dress your uniform, and like you check everything, you get yourself organized early morning, and you put the bag, and maybe sharp at to say like 6 o'clock or 5:30, you get your school van coming. So like toot the horn, like you just get out. See how nicely that you organized. But when it comes to e-learning, do we have those preparations? Or if you ask me, do we have to do that? I would say yes, that's compulsory. Because why? That is where like you have to organize yourself. Okay, some people like they just come and sit. Okay, like it's online learning. Okay, now the teacher is ready to teach, or the video, they send the video like, and you just put it, and okay, okay, so you don't have anything, you don't have at least a book, you don't have your textbook there, you don't have the exercise book there, you don't have a pen. Okay, so you don't have anything, and you just in front of your, yes, digital screen, you're just seated. No, that's not organizing. You have to make sure that if it is the subject of science, you got to get your textbook ready. Okay, and you get your exercise book ready. And if you are maybe like heading for some exams, maybe like you might have to get ready with your past papers. Okay, or like a model questions, whatever that they have sent you already. Okay, and maybe a glass of water, because like halfway you can't just run to the kitchen to get a glass of water. So you have to organize all those things, even all small things. You have to make sure that everything is organized in a proper way, so that you are ready to study. Okay, sometimes like we feel lazy. Come on, like this is hard, man. Like again, I have to go and get all those things. Okay, okay, let me finish this. Okay, I might remember everything. Okay, I might remember. So will you remember? I don't know. I might remember. So then sometimes after the session, like you get your concentration towards something else, and finally you forget. Like that few hours of e-learning, was it useful? Was it productive? All right. So it's very easy. Let's get organized. Okay. I'm sure, like, make sure that you wear, okay, if you prefer to wear, or if your school says, or if your college says that, okay, you have to wear your uniform, then that's fine. If not, make sure you don't wear your pajamas to like attend to the school sessions. Okay, so please make sure, because early morning, have a wash. Okay, get yourself ready, have a good breakfast, and get something like a nice looking cloth, and go and sit, because psychologically you will feel that you are ready for something. Because without getting ready, okay, if you just come and sit, and I'm sure like you are not ready to focus there, you are not ready to study. Okay, so you cannot be just an audience. You are a student, so you gotta study. I'm sure we can make it. Okay. And next is kick off the barriers. Kick off the barriers. Okay. Because barriers, what are the barriers you have? Maybe sometimes you have your mobile phone. That could be a big barrier. Okay. A mobile phone could be a big barrier. Or maybe you're like or maybe like the pet that you have at home. Okay, so he or she comes and like jump here, like you try to cuddle with the pet, and like these are some of the barriers that you might have. Okay, so you might have to just kick off all those barriers to a side, because if you really want to get the maximum out of your e-learning, so I'm just guiding you some ways and means, like how you can. So it's, if you really want to get yourself pumped up with some motivation for you to just focus on your education, there are things that you have to really get yourself ready with. So once you are ready with those, and I'm sure it's an easy game for you to go to your sessions with loads of positive things inside. And next is very important, your self control. You got to control yourself. Come on, this is very, very important, because if you don't have self discipline, it's very crucial. Because you might have a feeling, hey, come on, like no one is around me, so I'm just with my computer. Okay, so maybe the teacher, or like even if it is a recorded version, like no one is there to monitor, so like no problem. No, you have to control yourself. You should know, okay, this time I'm going to do this. So say like, okay, a 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock you have this subject, so you are not supposed to go and get something else done. So you got to focus there. You have to have your self control. No, I'm sure that I'm at home. I can definitely go and play. Maybe I can do something else, but no, I have to make myself disciplined. If not, I'm sure that you might think that you are cheating. You are trying to cheat your mom. You are thinking that you might cheat your dad. Okay, maybe like you are pretending as if you're like watching a video, or like you are concentrating on your school studies, and you wait till your mom goes and you say yes. Okay, like you do something else. You might think that you are cheating her, but the reality is, once you get your final exams, you get the paper, you're supposed to answer the questions, and halfway through, like you become blank. Why? You don't know. Because why? You were just wasting your time. You were thinking that you were cheating on your mom and dad. Finally, who got cheated? Who got cheated? Okay, so think. I'm sure, like being youngsters, like there are thousands of things coming here and there, and with the influence of internet, like there are loads of things going around. But we can control ourselves. If you think that you really wanted to become that particular ambitious person, and we all have that ambition, right? During our school days, like, or nurseries, there's like, hey, what do you want to be? Like, what's your ambitions? Like, I want to be a doctor, engineer, teacher, professor, lawyer. So many things. I want to be a pilot. We tell many things, but are we in the process of achieving it? If so, fantastic. But these pandemics and these e-learning should not stop us achieving those dreams that we really wanted to become one day. So have that strong feeling, control yourself. Okay, you can do many things. Focus, have your timetables, do the things at the right time. I'm sure you can control yourselves. And when it comes to kids' motivation, especially with online e-learning, it's not only the kids. There's a big part that teachers have to play. Oh, okay. Maybe now kids might be feeling, hey, look, that's something interesting going to happen. Okay. Teachers also responsible, right? Okay, good. So one day there was this beggar who went to this particular city or village, and he started begging, like, I'm feeling so hungry, please give me some food to eat. Like, he was begging. So then in that village, no one offered him any food. So he was really starving. Whenever like he went to people said, look, we are not in a position to give you food, but there is one vacancy. There is one job waiting for you if you are ready to take up. So like, job, what is it? Like, you can become the king for this entire city. King? It's like, yes. So he felt so happy, like, I'm a beggar, I'm just begging for food, and they're giving me the crown. Like, interesting. So he was ready to. But people said, look, mister, there is a condition. Okay, what is it? You can rule the city for 5 years. And after 5 years, we'll take you towards another island and we'll leave you there and come back. Okay, no problem. But they said in that island, you have some venomous snakes and dangerous animals. Simply, what they're trying to say is after 5 years, you're going to be dead. So this man thought for a while and said, hey, come on, like, I'm not in a position to fulfill my hunger. Okay. Even living 1 or 2 days is challenging for me. Okay, let me live for 5 years. No problem. Okay, let me enjoy my life for 5 years. And after that, we'll see like what's going to happen. So he took up the leadership. So he became the king, and like, he was enjoying all the food, all the luxuries. Okay, like, he was maximum enjoying the time. So 5 years were over. So now the village people came and said, like, look, Mr. King, your time is over. The boat is ready. You're about to sail now. So he felt okay. But he finally said, like, look, I have a small request. What is it? Like this, like the cloak what kings used to wear. Can I have that with me? So like people were like giving this look. Okay. Okay, you're going to die and you want to have that? Okay, no problem. Take it. So he put that cloak and he just went and he got board into the boat. So now the moment that he got into the boat, like, he used to whistle and, like, rejoice his time, and he was motivating the boat rider to paddle faster. So the boat rider was kind of really shocked. Hey, come on, what's really happening? Because like here before, those kings like who came before, they used to give some, like maybe some gem or some jewelries or some diamonds and say like, look, you take this and leave me somewhere. I'll just lead a normal life. But this king did not do anything. He's like, paddle fast, paddle fast. So he was like even astonished, like, what's going to happen? So then the boat reaches to this particular island. Who are there in the island? Venomous snakes, dangerous animals? No. People came to welcome this king. What happened? See, this king, he got 5 years, right? So what he did was, like, first year he had max of fun, and the second year What he did, he got all these armies and troops and everyone. He asked to come and say, like, look, there is this one particular island, you got to go there with weapons, okay, who whatever the dangerous animals, like, make sure that you just clear off them, okay, and that island should be a people friendly island where people can go and live there. Okay, so that was his project. So they went like, okay, they finished everything and came back. So next year what he did was, he invited all the intellectuals, maybe like all the architectures, okay, like all the engineers and like everyone. He just invited them and said, look, there is this big project, okay, so we have to build up good infrastructure. So he sent people there, the expertise there, and to make sure that he put all best infrastructure possible, and schools and hospitals to like houses. Like, it was a very nice plan. So everything was done, like it was like almost 4.5 years done. So another 6 months more for to complete his term. So then what he did was, he just made sure that he invited families who'd love to settle in that particular island, and every boat he sent each and every family there. So now he made his own kingdom to live forever. So the message that I want to give you here is, teachers, maybe like we might think, okay, so it's hard for us to get adapted to this system, or maybe we are trying to cut classes. We are kind of lazy to record videos and upload. We might be having that feeling, but always remember, it's like this king, okay, if we want to have a brighter future, okay, if as teachers, if you really want to have a cool and a calming career, and I'm sure you got to invest your time in making sure that you build all these infrastructure, whatever I said, the same like this king, you might have to invest at least quality 1 or 2 years for you to get yourself trained and better up, and make sure, like, try all the ways possible to make sure that you give your children the education in a more interesting way. So that's very important. If not, as teachers, you are going to be outdated. Another 1 or 2 years, things are going to be completely online. Okay, e-learning will definitely going to take up the lead. Then your demand, what's going to happen? So invest, and let's make sure that we make that better change, that we all can make it. So, teachers, I'm sure when it comes to e-learning, it's very important that we understand our children. Okay, every child is, because every children, they learn in all different ways. Some, they could be visual learners, some could be auditory learners, some could be digital learners, or they could be readers, or even sometimes they can be kinesthetic. So now why I'm saying this is, like, we might have to at least understand what are the learning styles of my kids. Because if you just put the slides and if you just started talking, maybe that becomes okay for visual learners, and sometimes that might be okay for auditory, but readers, they might need materials to go through, because that's the way that they learn. Kinesthetic guys will, they will definitely sleep. Why? Because they want to be more active. So definitely you might ask them to do some activities, some physical sessions, few movements. Okay, so maybe okay, let's put a high five, a digital high five. Okay, everyone do this. Okay, maybe like you ask them to do something, maybe some different facial expressions. Okay, and ask them to get up from your chair and do some, like, we can always make that happen. So once they feel the class is more active, kinesthetic learners will be like, hey, look, that's my style. So you might have to have all these different ways of putting it out. So understanding the child is very important, especially when it comes to e-learning. And next is delivery and engagement. How are you going to deliver? Okay, so maybe it's not every time that you have to talk. You can have videos, you can have audios, you can have all different ways how you can make your delivery more effectively. Okay, and also, like, you make sure that you always try to engage. Okay, even if it is a recorded lecture, who are the kids at your school, in your class. So then you can definitely, even in the recorded lecture, you can say, look, you name them, You tell them, okay, you call by their name. So they feel the session is more personalized and they get engaged with the session. Teachers, I'm sure that we can make it. Super. And next is flipped classrooms. Okay, so now this with this online system or basically the e-learning system. So like flipped classroom, what do we do? Like we normally give the materials for them to, like get the homework is given first and the session is done in the classroom. So here also you can do the same thing. You send the materials for them to refer. Maybe like you give them reading materials, ask them to do some works, okay, some self-learning materials, so they have to do those things, maybe answer a few questions and come to the session here. So now here you will facilitate, because there are different digital tools where you can have breakout rooms, you can give group activities, you can ask them to do things. So then kids feel like, look, today we had this team, me and my friend him and another friend she, like we all together, like we did this. So they have the feeling, even though that virtually they are connected, they know who are their friends. So now they feel more connected with the class, they feel. So then definitely as teachers, look, we become motivated once we have a feeling that the kids are learning, right? Okay, if we don't have that feeling, I'm sure that as teachers we are on the losing end. So by doing this, kids get engaged, they get motivated to learn better. Okay, great. Next is game-based learning. Game-based learning. Okay, so now even if you take a platform like Zoom, okay, there are loads of games for teamwork, for analytic thinking, like maybe for mathematics, like we have different games. So you can use those digital tools, and also there are third party applications where like you can use them there. Or else definitely you can create your own games for every session. Think what I can do. Okay. Maybe a chat, use the chat, and you might play a game. Okay, you might share a screen. Okay, you might share the whiteboard and ask them to draw something. Okay, you say that, okay, you can even give some team activities. Okay, so and definitely you can make it, there's no doubt. I still remember when I started to go through like online, the complete shift from physical to online or e-learning concept. Like at the beginning it was really challenging, but there comes a day that I had to address 1200 people online. I was thinking, come on, how am I supposed to do this? And I want to make sure that my physical sessions are having a very good output rate, so I have to maintain that. What am I supposed to do? Yes, that's the place I started to plan all different sort of games, and you won't believe, those sessions became very successful. And especially with the corporates, I used to do online sessions addressing 500 to 600 audience, the same screen. So you might think how it is possible. And if I tell you that all 500, I personally get in touch, will you believe? You have to. Why? Because that's happening. Okay, so there are ways that definitely like we can make it. So definitely games, everyone loves it, man, come on, like we all love playing games, life is a game. Okay, so we definitely love playing, so obviously kids love it. Teachers, this is a small message for you. So let's make sure the more the teacher becomes motivated, the more the kids will become motivated. The more the teacher become lazy, lethargic, to a side, not at all interesting, so definitely you will have super boring kids. Okay, so let's make sure we both the parties, we have to jump to the field and make sure that we all become highly energetic, and this is a possible task. Let's make it. Finally, parents, are you there? Okay, because only kids and teachers cannot make this online learning get to an inspirational position for kids to learn better. But parents, we have a big role. What are these frogs used to be here? What's yes, there was this group of frogs once were having a very nice walking in the woods, okay, inside of a jungle. So these frogs were, like having a chat, and they were putting a walk. And there comes a big a pit. So now they went there, and like they can just go around it. But these frogs were a little crazy. They wanted to do something different. You know what they did? Two frogs. There was a wood, okay, which was like crossing the a pit, okay. Then so they wanted to try going above this particular. So because they can just go around it, but they wanted to take more risk and go. So two frogs, they were crossing, slipped off, fell into the pit. So now all the other frogs were around and looking at this. Hey, look, what are you trying to do? How are you going to come out from this? So these two frogs were having a chat. Look, man, like, so now anyway, like there's no option, like we have to jump out. So now these two were thinking, okay, like who's going to jump first? Like, okay, no problem. So like one said, okay, I'll jump first. So he was getting ready to jump. Okay, one, two. So the rest of the frogs, they said, don't jump, don't jump, don't jump. If you jump, you will hit your head and you will die. Okay. So this is the same thing in a chorus, like all these frogs were shouting. They were jumping and saying, don't jump, don't jump. If you jump, you will hit your head, you will die. So this frog heard everything, and come on, like even though those people said all those things, like I can't wait inside, I have to jump. Like he jumped, duck. Okay, he got the shot and fell dead. So the next frog now is getting ready to jump. So all the rest of the frogs will say, like, you see what happened to your friend. Okay, same thing is going to happen to you. So now they were really, okay, they were so afraid that another friend of them might die. So they were jumping up and shouting and saying, like, don't. This frog was like, okay, wait, 1, 2, 3, boom, jump, and he came out. So rest of the frogs, they came around him, and I was like, come on, we were shouting so much, don't jump, and you jumped. So the frog was saying, were you all shouting saying that don't jump? Like I have problem with my hearing. So when I see you're like, I felt that you all were jumping up and you were cheering me to come out from this pit. So that was the real motivation that I had to jump with so much of energy. Here, I'm out. So I'm sure now you know what happened to the earlier frog. He heard all those negative things. With that, his motivation level went down, got hit, and dead. And I'm sure you know what happened to the second frog. Okay, so parents, it's our responsibility to make sure that we give some positive vibes to our kids. You have to always make sure, like, you don't have a feeling, come on, like, what is this, man, like this school is giving us e-learning and I can't understand. No problem, don't say like that. Make sure that you try to learn. Okay, you try to, I'm sure like everyone can learn this. It's not a rocket science for you to like, come on, like, what's this? No, it can be learned. And make sure that you always try to give a motivation for your child, because the moment that you started saying, come on, this is not going to work, this is not effective, like what is this, man, like you have to go to the school, sit there only, like you have to, like that's the real learning. If you start to say that, that will be a big demotivational factor for them. So eventually what happens is they start to believe, hey, this is not going to work. And maybe for months and months they just sit in front of the digital screen, but they will not learn anything. Because why? They are not motivated to learn. And remember, sometimes the biggest demotivational factor could be you, the parents. So if we are that, let's always try to help them out. Set up the environment. Parents, this is very important for you. So don't let them to sit on the bed and the couch and like in the sofa and to learn. Okay, so make sure that you have a proper setup. Okay, I'm not asking you to buy things, but like have your table and a good chair. Okay, set up the environment what they really want. Okay, that's number one. That's very important. And next, be a pillar of support. Okay, try to guide them, be a good motivator, because a mom and a dad, okay, they become the first teachers, they are super mentors. And if your children is having any issues with psychology, I'm sure the first and the best and the quality and the number one counselor could be you. Okay, because you know in and out of your child. So definitely you can be a great supporter, and you can always guide them. You can always you're like being at home. It's again another opportunity to groom them and make their lives even more better. Be a good monitor. Okay, so now they are with the devices. It's parents responsibility to go and see what they are doing and how they are doing. How can you help them, so they will also have a feeling, okay, someone is there with me. Okay, some kids might not like it, okay, but definitely as parents, monitoring is very important. At school, there is somebody called teacher, okay, who always used to monitor whether you did your homework, what is wrong, like how can I help you, like for everything. So here also the teacher is there, but physically a mom or dad, someone elder at home should be there to just on and off monitor them, give them a small support. That will always help them. And next is help them manage time. Okay, maybe sometimes as kids they might not in a position to manage time, they might not know this, but maybe like if you are into the secondary and tertiary education, I'm sure that you can do it. Okay, but especially for small ones, so parents, you can always help them to manage time. Look, this time you have to do this time you have to do this, only this time you are supposed to eat, every time you can't come and have a bite. Okay, so like you have to have this time, quality time. Okay, from this time to this time you have to study this particular subject, so this time you can have a small rest. So likewise, you try to help them manage time. Wow, see, if we can all do this in this simple way, I'm sure we will be able to give a quality education for our child in these online platforms. It's always easy. Don't think that we can't. If you think so, I'm sure we are in the losing end. Finally, I'm going to give you a quick tongue twister. Neha, are you there? Okay. So I'm sure that I'm going to give you this particular tongue twister. So it's a red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry. You're going to say it continuously, non-stop. Okay, you're going to say it continuously, non-stop. Okay, so let's take a couple of minutes. Okay, when I say 1, 2, 3, go. So people like who are watching this, you're going to say it. Okay, non-stop. Okay, faster as possible. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Might have to do it faster, 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 faster. Okay, so I'd be really happy if you are making mistakes. Okay, obviously, because I really want to make sure that you do mistakes here. Super. So if you failed to do this, I invite you before, okay, before you do your next main task of the day, try to make sure that you at least try to do this without any mistakes at least 10 times. Okay, maybe you might feel like, come on, it's impossible. Everything, once you have a change, it is impossible. Because
Sir,
if you take this,
may I interrupt you? I wanted to know what is the full form of red lorry, yellow lorry. I can't pronounce it right now, but what's the full form of this? What are you trying to make us remember, basically?
okay, Neha, this is we call it as a tongue twister. Okay,
Yeah.
so normally when it comes to communication, we say like, okay, you go to a gym. Okay, you don't all of a sudden start lifting big weights. You do some
Exactly.
stretching exercises, you do some warm-ups before you put up weight. Same
Yep.
as before you start speaking. Okay, the
Hmm.
number one thing is like we have to train our tongue. So we have to
Yeah.
practice few things. So this is one of the things that we used to practice before we go for a speech or any kind of a presentation. So
Okay.
this
Okay.
red lorry, yellow lorry, it is little hard for you to do it
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
red lorry, yeah. So these two Y's, like come together. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
you have to move your tongue super fast if you really want to
Yeah.
do it without mistakes. Okay,
Okay.
so if you try it, sometimes you might feel like some might say red lorry, lelo lorry. Okay, some
Yep.
might say
Yep.
okay, some might say red, not lorry, rolly. Okay, some
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
say so they might make loads of mistakes. So the message that I want to give here is, but
Mm-hmm.
I challenge you, if you keep on trying, definitely you will make yourself do this perfectly. It's not that hard.
Okay.
If you try on me, say like red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, I can do it because
Mm-hmm.
I'm trained. Okay, I can do it because the reason is like, once you, at the beginning I also had a problem that I can't do it, but once I did it continuously, hey, I start enjoying it. Same thing, the conclusion of today's topic is e-learning or online education is something new for us, same as this tongue twister. At the beginning it seems to be hard, seems to be like impossible. Come on, like we can't do it, I'm making mistakes. That might be the impression that you have, but you keep trying, it becomes super interesting, it becomes super easy. So have that trust, believe yourself, don't be like that elephant that we were talking earlier.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So make sure that you change that belief. Hey, this is possible. This is super interesting. So we all going to, like STP, we call students, teachers, and parents together. Let's make sure that we make this model a successful one, and we can really do wonders. We can save loads of time. We can always introduce all new ways of making things possible. So nothing is impossible. We can definitely make things possible. Okay, so I'm sure that if you have watched me for all these, like it's almost going to be 1 hour. Okay, so but if you have that feeling, okay, this session was good, we enjoyed, we learned, so I'm sure, so this is a trial version of how an online session can be.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly.
Yes.
So would you mind spelling out your email? There are some people who might want to get in touch with you, so they're requesting for your email. I just type that in the chat box. So would you mind
Yes.
spelling it out for me? Yep.
Yes, it is ZAM.
Z
Shall
A
I just
M. No, no, ZAM. Huh. If you could, put it, yeah.
ZAMRPNZI@gmail.com.
Okay, great. So I've put your email in the chat box if anyone wants to get in touch with you for some further assistance. I think this will help. But once again, I think storytelling is a very powerful method to drive home some concepts. And I was very delighted that for every slide you had a story. There was less text and more stories. I think I remember all the stories that you mentioned: the frog one, the emperor one, the monkey, the elephant one. So that was very wonderful because since it's a session primarily for kids, I think when the kids who are watching this and the kids who will eventually watch the session, I think they'll remember a lot because of the wonderful stories that you mentioned. But let's come to some technical part over here since we're a teacher training institute. One question that I have in mind, and I think I will, my audience also has this question in mind, is what is the role of teachers? Once again, if you would like to reiterate their role, in motivating students to, embrace online learning. And also, if you could, pinpoint out the role of teacher training as well, since teachers are, also new to technology. So, what's the role of teacher training also over here? If you'd like to, elaborate on that.
Yes, Neha, definitely. So, number one, as the role of a teacher. So, now if you take the traditional way of teaching and when you go online, especially,
Yeah.
so it's not the same way. Maybe the content that we deliver is the same. So, the
Yeah.
knowledge what they have here is the same. But how are we going to deliver it? Because when it comes to teacher training, so the delivery is one of the major component. So how, because there are people like who have very good knowledge, but
Yep.
I've seen teachers saying, look, we don't like this, like we don't like to teach online. So like it's not like kids used to sleep and we also like get bored. See, now that is where like I was talking about the belief system you have to change. So you have to
Absolutely.
change that belief system. That is number one. Psychologically, you are pulling it out. You are saying like it's not proper. So now, once you change the belief system, trust me or not, you yourself will figure out loads of strategies. Because
Oh,
as teachers are really skilled. Okay, they are very skilled and they know what to do, how to handle kids. Okay, because like if they are teaching, I'm sure that they are after a very good teacher training program. Okay,
absolutely.
and they are very skilled and they are knowledgeable psychologically. They know like how, and you even a kid do something, like okay, this is what she is doing. Okay, this is what they are going to do. So they know it. So now only thing is change the belief system. You will definitely figure out thousand ways of making your session more interesting, and you will come
Absolutely.
up with a super ways of delivering.
That's perfect. That's a very wonderful answer. And also, the role of teacher training also, once again, if you'd like to reiterate that for our audience, who is basically teachers only. And I think it's very important for teachers to, be trained in technology and ed tech so that they can, better guide students. Do you have any take on that? Yep.
Yes, Neha, definitely. So now, that is when it comes to teacher training, and I'm sure that even sometimes Getty, you might have different versions of like different models. Okay, with the current situation. So I'm
Yeah.
sure like teachers might have to definitely go into another bit advanced training where like they learn the digital tools, especially. Okay,
Yep.
because it's not only people normally think when it comes to an online session, they name some applications like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or Google Meet. So these are some platforms, but those
Absolutely.
are not only so-called e-learning. So there are loads of other gadgets that you can always think of. So there, I'm sure like if they can follow up such kind of a little advanced and more technical and digital oriented workshops, I'm sure definitely they can learn, and also they can always be smart. Because
That's
I've
true.
seen some lecturers, even they don't know to like do some basic things in these particular platforms. So now
Absolutely.
kids used to teach them. So then what happens, like automatically their confidence level goes off. And once the kid is having the basics of teacher training, okay, once your audience don't have trust on you, so there's no point in you talk rest. Okay, so it's very important that we have to, okay, teachers, I'm sure like technical things you might have to get yourself brush up. Okay, learn new things, new ways. Okay, always try to make sure that you be a new version of a teacher. And also like your kids will always love to come, hey look, this teacher used to do some magics for us with this technology. Like wow, so there you become a celebrity teacher. Okay, so people, the kids are looking forward for you, and they know that you are so skilled not only with knowledge but also with all these technical things. So that will definitely make you a special, as I call it, as a celebrity teacher and an iconic figure in the industry.
Well, three cheers to you, sir, for bringing out the on ground reality of edtech and teachers. I think I've seen it a lot that teachers themselves are not aware of, how to navigate various platforms. So students end up teaching them, which is a very awkward situation in itself. Thank you for,
Sure.
thank you for making this topic so light-hearted, because this is a very heavy topic and we are all scared to, talk about it in public. But you've done a very great job, bringing stories into it and also very carefully nudging the teachers to, take part in trainings and, make themselves aware about various edtech agendas that are going on. Once again, sir, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and thank you so much for your very informative
Pleasure.
session. Thank you so much, sir, and I hope to see you again. Thank you, sir.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Neha. And thank you very much, Getty, the complete team, so in inviting me to do this show. And I'm sure audience will definitely like it, and definitely share this knowledge with others. And let's all try to make sure we have a better learning system, and also kids should be feeling highly inspired with what they study. Okay, that was the aim of the program. So Neha, thank you very much, and it was
Thank
really
you.
nice
Thank you so
have
much,
a
sir.
nice conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye, sir. Take care.
Okay, bye. Take care. See you.